Before moving further with the orders, I want to address one more problem which we used to face by so far in our whenever we are making the payment. I'll just go again and recirculate that. As you see, whenever we're trying to make the place order is placing. After that, whenever we are initializing the payment, you see that one because previously it worked because of the caching which I have been taking from my previous application, but we need to sort that problem. And how we can do that, as you see in our root layout, in the app layout, we need to set some kind of setup which we forget to set previously. First of all, I need to import here some of the things from, it would be from there, let's say it would be Stripe React Native. Okay, so that's the from where I need to grab the provider. Okay, so it cannot work within that particular layer, so I need to bring back my provider within my application. And after that, it will get some kind of things. So what I'm gonna do at the top of this layer, I will define the publishable key. So should be const, and that will be, let's say, publishable key. And the publishable key, which is going to be just in string, you just need to go with your account homepage here. You can also copy from here. You see the publishable key. So this can be a public, so it doesn't matter if someone see you or something happened to that. So you can keep it like that. So this is the publishable key we need to refer. And how we can refer that, remember, our application layer have a two certain of things. One having the tabs, which is rendering our entire application layer by which showcasing the tab, but we have a root layer in our app, which is our layout. So here we need to just as you see, I have the empty braces. I'm gonna just put that Stripe provider here just to go and hit with that, and the publishable key will be our not in string as we declare at the top. You can also pass the string directly here, it will work fine. So now this application happened to be seeing the publishable key. You see now if I try to hit the payment, and as you can see, it's just giving that instantly. So you may having some kind of error on that, so that could be fixable by happen to be and make that one in a good way. So if I go with my payment setup now, so I'll go with the default variation, and that would be okay. So now if I hit pay, so my orders would be circulated and the payment, it will be done perfectly the way it's supposed to be. And then I'm back to my orders. So now what I'm gonna do, I need to start working with the orders. I need to set the orders pretty defined way so that I will be able to get every single order segment and also the setup right here. So first of all, okay, we are fetching the orders, we are setting the orders. Okay, so I think in the console we are having the orders already, and also we can, yeah, before passing that, before getting the wrapper, we can also pass that if there we have an error here. Then what we can do, we can also return something which can be like, I'm gonna just go with the wrapper, and then I will make that, let's say yeah, I can create a title header. Instead of addressing every time, I will go in my component here, and in the component, did I create before? No, I didn't think so. So it should be title header.tsx rnfes. So that's the title header where I'm gonna use every time. Okay, but what could be there in our title header? That's the question. So I'm gonna go and I'll go with in a very easy way, because you see it will takes a props. So interface the props, it gonna be coming like that. I'll make it very simple. So I'm gonna just pass the title should be a string. Okay, so everything gonna be coming from the props. You can also pass as much variable as you want, that's up to you. I'm gonna get back the title, and after the title also yeah, I can pass lots of scenario here. I can make it more handle and make it more procedural way. But how we can go on that, so it can be let's say I can make it dynamic. Okay, so it can also work as a header, it can also work as a title. But first I'm gonna go with the title parameter, I think so. So that would be our text, and here I'm gonna pass our title. But I'm okay, first of all I'm gonna take my design here. So I think it will work kind of like a back button too. Okay, so we can make it in a both way possible. So I'm gonna take my router here, and that should be use router. And after that okay, So here I can also pass that. No, I don't want the router to be, I just want the title. Okay, I'm gonna remove it. Whenever I'm gonna pass the title, I'm gonna capture it. Okay, first I'm gonna just go in a simple parameter. The style should be, let's say, styles dot title. Okay, that's the simple combination I want to pass. So here should be, let's say, title header. So title header, and in the title header, let's say the title could be the title whatever we are gonna pass. Let's say the title, it will be my orders. Okay, so my orders, it will be there. I'll make a simple condition so that we can see the my order. So that would be the simple configuration here, but we can use a lot of other variation, like we can go with some of our routing setup, but I'm not gonna go with right now. But whenever I'm gonna go, I'll let you know, and that time you can use it directly here. You could also use that instead of the title, you can also pass it within that props here, which can be the children. So everything within the wrapper, you can pass it and it will work perfectly. And for the title, you see, just to define value, to just building it every time and to time is just to go with like that. And after that, okay, in the orders, we didn't bring our styles. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go and grab all of my styles. It's a pretty simple style because all the style going to be coming in our orders card. So it will be not that much heavy so far. So now what we're gonna do in the wrapper here, so as we are rendering the error here, as you see, I just made the null check. Over here, I'm going to pass a view. In the view, there will be a text, and on the text, there should be, if there is whatever the error going to pass. Right now, you will find nothing. But if I just go and make that one like within the object, or I can just pass that, let's say, test. Okay, so you see the error right here. Now what I'm gonna do, let's just put a style, and the style should be styles.error container. You see, it's in the middle, and also for the text, style dot styles dot, it should be error text. So that's the combination, just a red mark. So this is the error container, putting in the middle, this is the error text, keeping it center and giving an error color. So this is the where we're gonna showcase the error. So now we're not gonna show the error. Let's go back to our home wrapper. So now instead of keeping that, remember what we're gonna order. So it's gonna be title header. Actually, did we have a title? I think I created a title. Oh, yes. I created a title. Why I'm using the title header? Okay, that's my bad. That's my bad. I maybe forgot that one. So title. Okay, I forgot that. Okay, anyway, title header also require, but I think instead of title header, I'll just simply use the title. Yes, so that one, let's say title. Yes, and in the title, my orders. Okay, if I go with the error, yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So our title header, this because the title, whatever the header is, that it should be append to be within the header. So spare it. So whenever we're gonna work with the header, if you want it to, that time we're gonna configure that how we want it to be done. Okay, so now we're gonna use the title. So this is the good things right now. Okay, anyway, it's my bad to go with that. So my orders. And after that, we need to be passing a variation. If we have orders dot, if we have the length, means we're having order. Then if the length is bigger than 0, means we are having the order. So let's just pass a view, and let's just pass okay, let's just pass a text orders. Okay, and if there is no order, remember we have another portion here which is called empty state. So empty state, and on the empty state we need to combine some of the data. So the type should be, let's say, I'm gonna just keep the type within a card. You can also use the type of the order if you want it to. Message, then you have no orders yet. Okay, and after that, actionable level, it should be, let's say, start shopping. And then on action, we're just gonna define on action prioritize router dot push, and the push going to happen, we're gonna just pass that for the tabs, and it will just directly bring us to the shop. Now you can check it, you can just make the null parameter. You see, you can just go back to the shopping and it will just bring back to you the shop page. So let's go back here, and I'm gonna remove that. So right now we need to go and create another component which will be orders item. Okay, so that should be order item dot tsx rnfes. So here all the order circulation going to happen. I'm going to keep it like that, and over here instead of this one we're going to just render a flat list. Okay, so this flat list gonna be combined to showcase the data. So the data should be our orders, and also for the key extractor we're gonna just pass that. We're gonna grab the item, and remember our item have the id item.id.toString. so just to be putting that, not to be get the manipulation here. And for the render item we will just pass that everything we're gonna capture as an item. Okay, and also you can capture as like instead of item you can also capture is order, but I'll just go with the item. I think the order is better because as we are taking the order segment. And after that, so after this label here, as we are happen to be get the order, I will return our order item. Okay, and the order item we're gonna pass that, let's say order should be, we're gonna pass the order as order. Hit save. As you can see right now we are having orders, right? So all the order item, how many orders you're having, we can grab the order. Okay, what's that? Order does not exist on the list vendor type order, so we can just simply pass the item. I think that would be good. Okay, no error. Okay, fine. So now we are having all the orders here, but as you see we need to go back to the order item. We need to make a lot of things to be done there to make it a little bit better and clear. First of all, over here what we can do is that we can capture so many things. We will capture our order, so whatever the order we're gonna pass, we're gonna capture also an on delete function. We're gonna capture our email from the user, because there will be multiple instances which we're gonna create after that. But right now as you see from here only we are passing the order, right? So yeah, from here we are only passing the, okay, so are we on delete? If the delete method is happening we should be trigger that. Okay, we're gonna check with this. We need to pass from the orders that on delete parameter, so which we are not passing it. So as you see we have our order item, right? And also you're gonna pass the email, which should be that user.email. so that could be the user, yes. So we have user, and after that a router, I think I'm not gonna go with that, but we're gonna pass that one function which will be on delete. And for that delete we're gonna make that as a handle delete order. I'm gonna just simply create a function right now at the top just to go and pass the value. So should const handle on delete, which later on we're gonna emphasize how we can capture and make it better. Okay, so now as we say we have three parameter, but we doesn't have the interface here. So let's say interface, and here we're gonna pass that as a order. So that's the order interface right here. So this is gonna combine whatever the order could be there, and you can go with your parameter of that so that you can know. So now what kind of things we're having in the order. If we go back to our Supabase, we can see what kind of variation, what kind of data we are just creating on that. So in the shortcut we can just see, especially in our table editor, if we go back to our orders, as you see orders have id, user email, so price, item, payment status. So those are the data, and also created at an other. So those are the data we need to fill up to compete with whatever the values we're gonna have. So we're gonna having the id, of course, so put the id there. We're gonna have so I'm gonna just keep it all together so that it will be very easy peasy. So here, so now it's having some of the parameter is having the id, which is number, total price is also number, payment status is string, and created at also string, and every single items. If you just remember here we have an items. If you just go and conflict on that, item has an image, item has a price, title, quantity, product id. So those are the things which gonna be passing here: product id, title, price, quantity, image, and those are the type. id is number, title is string, price number, quantity number, image is string. So now this variation is done. So now we can pass that the order placement here. So first of all, we can define another parameter, but you can also go with simple like that. You can define like that our order should be our order, whatever the type we define, and also on delete, which can be on delete. It can, or instead of that, I really it's not so good. So I'm gonna make that interface, let's say a props. So on the props, we're gonna define the parameter here. It will take everything as a props. Now on the props, what we want, we should have order, and the order should be the order which we are having here. One thing is done, and after that we're gonna having that on delete, and of course this is about function. So delete, it should be, let's say every delete action it gonna getting a props which would be a number, and then it gonna get the function. And after that also it gonna rerun on that email. So the email, it could be either a string, or because it gonna coming with a database, also it can be undefined. So as we said that stage, you can see our order circulation is pretty much good. Now here we're gonna also get the status of paid. So const is paid, and is paid should be is equal to, let's say order dot payment status dot is equal to should be success. If that is success, our order is paid. And also you're gonna make that loading. So loading, and is loading, set loading. So set loading, we're gonna use the use state parameter, and here by default we're gonna make it false. Before going further, we're gonna just go and price. First of all, we're gonna bring the style, all the styles which you're gonna use. It's a bit of chunky style here, which we need to work on that. Okay, so those are the styles which we are going to use. Okay, so now we're gonna go and make that one looks perfect. First of all, I'm gonna go with the view on that. Style should be, let's say styles dot order view, not like that, order view. Okay, as you see we have that compartment, and as you can see that one, that is a vertical scroll bar. So I'm gonna make that over here a show vertical scroll bar. I don't want to show that, should be false. Now you can see nothing visible. Now in the order item, as you see, the order view is providing that flex direction row, and then item center, margin bottom 12, background color is the primary, padding 16, radius 8, shadow color, show offset, shadow opacity. So we are creating that opacity over here, elevation, other properties. Okay, right now as we did that, we also going to happen to be get the order item. So what I'm gonna do over here, let's just take another view, and on that view should be a text, and on that text gonna be passing order, and that order going to be take the number. So what I'm gonna do, it should be order.id. So there, as you see, order and then the order ID. So now here there should be style, and the style should be order item, not ID, item. So in the order item, we are making flex one, giving all the rooms for the places, and of course there should be two separation. There would be image and others, but I'm gonna just, and for the image we're gonna just keep single image just to show the value. So now as we did that, so we have our, and also we need to pass the style here. So style should be styles.order ID. And the order ID style similar of the title, we're just making bold and other color ratio. And I think there must be, let's say I'm gonna just go on that, let's say margin top I'm gonna make 10. So just not on that, I think we can go over here in the flat list. We can just make that container style, content container style. Over here we can make margin top, we can make just 10, so it's gonna be pushing that 10. And also we can make that, let's say padding bottom, not black, bottom going to be, let's say 100, just to push that through everything at the top. Okay, so now you can also make the things in a different way. So which way you feel it better, just do it. I'm gonna just go in a normal procedure. After that, as we are showcasing the order data, so we need to now pass the order value here. So the text should be, let's say it will contain the total, and in the total, first of all I'm gonna go and grab the $sign, and here should be order dot total price, and I'm gonna make it to fixed, so it will be on the variation. So now we can say order total price of that. Okay, done. So this is the one conditioning is happening. After that, there will be another text, and the text going to be contained of that. I'm going to pass the status. So status going to be let's say whatever the status is gonna passing that. First of all, it's gonna be coming with a condition. If it's page, so if it's a page, we want to make that, let's say we can just make that payment done. And if it's a not page, that time we want to render that pending. So now, as you can see, status payment done, pending, pending, payment done. So now we know the variation, whatever order is paid, whatever order is not paid. Now we can go on and on with that. Now in the status, we got in the text also, we're gonna render the style, but this time we're gonna come up with an array. First of all, that should be order status, the default status, whatever we are providing. You see here, just the font color, providing the secondary color. But after that, we're gonna also coming up with a condition. If the color, we're gonna define with the color. So the color would be let's say it's gonna define if is paid is available, then we want one color, and otherwise we're gonna also want one color. If paid is available, that time we want to make that okay, no need to having that. So if paid is there, we want to make it green. Otherwise we want to make it, let's say app colors dot error, so it should be the red color. So now you can see okay, it's paid, not green. My bad, it's green. So now you can see we are having, you can define the color in the if you just go over here on the colors, you can define, you see the success color is there. So I think we can use that app colors dot success. Yeah, instead of that green, we can just simply go with that app colors dot success. Okay, nice. So now we know whichever order is pending. Now you can also use a border, right? As you see here, we can just simply make like that, and you can just define that if it's pending, you know, the same way. So we're gonna make that border color, and the border color we're gonna define it like that. Is pending, is paid. If the is paid is there, same thing should be app colors. Let's say app colors dot success, and otherwise we're gonna make that app colors, let's say app colors dot error. So now you can see the border. That's how you can define, but this not looks so nice. I'm gonna just keep it, remove it. If you want it, I just showed you the idea how you can do it, pretty simple and easy way to combine. I'll just go with this value. I think this is enough for me to understand. And after that, as we passed status, so as you see status is done, then we're gonna have that placed, and that placed mean when the order is created. So that creation means we're gonna make that new, and we're gonna make the order so date it should be there. So order dot created at, and from there we're gonna make that to local date string. So this is the strings which going to maximize when the orders it has been placed, not placed, placed. And the style should be, let's say it's gonna be styles dot order date, and the date also the same way, just removing the size here, font sizes and other things is pretty good and instant. Okay, after the place order, there should be another, we need to be generating an indicator where we're gonna just go with that pay now probability to where the button would be there. So we're gonna make that is paid. If it's not is paid, so any order is not paid, we want to render only that time. And what we want to render, when to render a touchable opacity means a button, if you can see it like that. And here, if there is a loading instances, we want to showcase that activity indicator from React Native. Is it coming from the React Native? Yeah, make sure that it's coming from the React Native, and that should be activity indicator. Otherwise it's gonna be a text, and the text should be pay now. Okay, so this is how it gonna be, and if you just make sure you see, that's the one which we are talking about. So right now for the touchable opacity, you're gonna style, and that should be styles dot pay now button. So this is the button here, and the button is margin top is 8, background color which is primary, vertical 6 with 80, border radius 6, ln itself, and also the ln item center. And now after that, also for the accessibility indicator here, we're gonna make the size, which should be, let's say it gonna be a small size here, not the large. And also we can define the color for that, so that should be, let's say color, we're gonna define that app colors dot white is there, app colors dot background. Maybe we're gonna try the background. So let's say if it's loading, not background, let's go back to the color, not go back to the colors. And here we have gray, we have white. Yeah, background primary. Okay, anyway, we can just make that backgrounds dot primary. Okay, now you see, okay, that's getting white, so looks better. And also for the text here, we're gonna provide the style, and there should be styles dot pay now text. And also this the same thing which you're doing, we don't want to go static like that. So app colors dot primary dot not the primary, background dot primary, not like that, primary. Okay, so now we have a pay now button here, and on that pay now button we're gonna also render a function which gonna handle the on pay status. So on press, and here we're gonna make that, let's say handle pay HANDLE handle pay now. So this is the function going to be responsible to create the payment status for us. So const handle pay now. So whenever our function, like whenever we are not paid yet, and of course that could be an asynchronous function. And also, by the way, if you go in the orders, that's also going to be a asynchronous function, because remember we're going to delete the order from our database, so it can take some time to wipe the data from there. And also whenever we're going to handle to grab like paying the status, the payment on done, so that also the same thing going to happen. Right now we need to go okay, we also want to showcase one image just to show. Of course, once we tab, we want to show image in a multiple way, but that's up to you how you want to render. But I'm gonna just show a very easy way to go and render on that. So order dot, let's say order dot items, and from there I'm gonna get the first, and here I'm gonna take the image. If the image is there, I want to render the image, so image. And on that image I will provide source, and on the source I'm gonna grab the URI, and the URI should be capturing on that, let's say order dot item, and here I'm gonna take the 0 item, and from there I'm gonna just render the image. Now you can also grab it at the top layer. That would be very decent if you can do it. And also for the style, style should be, let's say styles dot image. So this could be a simple image, as you can see, just providing width, height, and contain margin left is 12. Now why is getting side by side? You can see here, this the two view is rendering together, and that's the view having a flex direction of row. Okay, done. And also after that, we after the order, we want to have another touchable opacity, which going to handle a feather icon, feather. Okay, I think I made a mistake. Maybe should be feather, feather. Yeah, that's the icon we want. And the name should be like that. What's happened to me? A name should be, let's say trash 2. So that's the icon name would be there. As you can see, icon is already visible, and the color should be, let's say I'm gonna provide that app colors dot error. So that's the color it would be. And of course we want to provide the size. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger, so the size should be, let's say passing as 20 size. And of course whenever you're gonna click on that particular document, so let's say style, before mentioning that styles dot it should be delete button. Okay, so delete button having a padding 8, margin left 12. If you just remove that, you can see how it's concatenating. So it's, you can just do it the way you feel it better, which is accessible by you. And on press, it's gonna handle that, let's say handle delete, handle, I think it's handle delete or handle delete. Yeah, how the way we grab it, are we grabbing it is handle delete. Yes, I'm gonna make a single function here, handle delete. Now why we are doing that? Because we want to bring a one pop-up before deleting that. So const handle delete, and that should be a simple function here, not asynchronous, because we're gonna call that function within a function. And once we click on that, let's say alert, okay, it should be alert, alert dot alert, and over here we're gonna pass a message, let's say delete order, and of course we're gonna pass that also a concat value. So are you sure you want to delete, and we're gonna pass the order value here, and that should be a hash value. Then we're gonna go and pass the order number, order.id. okay, so that would be the procedure. If you just click on that, you're gonna having are you sure you want to delete order, and of course whenever we do that, there should be a concat parameter here. After that, we're gonna make that an array. Within that, there should be two objects. First one, this should be text, and here we're gonna just make the text as, let's say, cancel, and on cancel, the style should be also passing a variable parameter of, let's say, cancel. And after cancel, there should be another value here. So the style, the text should be text, which is going to be delete, and also style should be, I want to make it as destructive, so should be destructive. And of course, whenever we're gonna make on that on press, right now nothing gonna happen because we didn't write the function yet. So it should be passing that, let's say, on delete, and here we're gonna pass that order.id. That's it. So now if we click here to delete that particular item, you see, so now we're gonna render. First of all, we're gonna bring that functionality to work. So because we will be able to delete an order, then we're gonna go with the payment skill to make the payment should be done and with an equal margin. So to do that, this could be a little bit tricky here, because we need to go and make a lot of things to be done all together. As you see, we have the fetch orders and others. So you're gonna go over here on handle delete, and of course you see how the way it can be passing there. We're gonna having order ID, which is going to be number. You know, whenever you're gonna click that, it's gonna coming with that props. So this is the order ID, which you're gonna just capturing as an order ID. Right now we're gonna make the try catch parameter at the top. Okay, so this should be a two-way valid consumption. So you see that could be a very legitimate way to go with that. So first of all, we're gonna go and showcase the error. So that should be error, and of course also we want to pass the alert. So if the error is here, error deleting order, we're gonna showcase the error, and alert is error failed to delete order, please try again. Okay, now on the try block, we're gonna render a lot of things which can be very much specific on that. So first of all, we're gonna go on that to decipher, are we having user or not. First of all, if we doesn't have user, we should not be here. But even though we can go in a multiple instance, if we have no user, we can just throw an error. So throw new error, and the error should be user not authenticated. So that's it, just to passing that message. And after that, we can also pass that console log or so many other things. First of all, we need to verify, and what we're gonna verify, we need to verify the order exists. Okay, so if we doesn't know that order exists, how we can delete, right? So now we can go with that. We're gonna just grab everything from await, and we're gonna bring that from our friend Supabase. Remember the functionality we have here. So from Supabase, and then we're gonna go structurize with that. First of all, we're gonna go and catch the orders, and from the orders we're gonna select, and we're gonna select according to ID and according to user email, user underscore email. So that's gonna be, and why underscore email? Remember, if you go back here, you can see user underscore email, right? So this an ID is right there. So you need to make sure that you are putting the keys properly and perfectly, otherwise you may not get that data properly. And dot equal, the equal should be passing as an ID, so it's gonna match with the ID properly, and the ID gonna be passing that the order ID which we are passing as a props, and then we're gonna bring that single, so we can get the order single. So from here, we will be able to get the data, and from the data, you're gonna destructure, you're gonna get the order, we're gonna get the error. Error gonna be coming with that fetch error. So right now, what I did here, so every single order, we're gonna just go and match with that. We're gonna as we passing the ID, so I'm gonna go with my orders table, right? And from there, I will be able to go and match. If that match, whatever the ID I'm passing, if it's matched with any of that ID, then it's gonna return me that single ID, that single data, right? So this is the one how we can check. Now, so now we can just go and make another condition. If we have the fetch error, means the data is not there, or we gonna have no order, right? Means this two parameter. If we doesn't have no order, if having the fetch error, so this two nullable two condition is here. Either you're gonna have a fetch error, or you can have order, or you can have no order. So this combination is going to be there. So if we have fetch error, means order is not there, and also if it doesn't have the order, we can just make it throw a new error. And of course, you can make a console log to see whatever is coming. So first of all, I'm gonna say order is order not found. Order not found, brother. Whatever order you're looking is not there. Now we can destructurize the error. Okay, so we can find the error also to go and make that things done in a pretty decent way. So we're gonna make the error, and the error should be wait. And because the error, why I'm getting the error, I'm gonna define that. Otherwise, it can be, as you can say, we already have error. Why we are looking for that another error? That error going to be happen to be perform the deletion. Okay, so now we are going back to create the deletion, and on the deletion, we're gonna go to bring everything from there. Await Supabase, not like that, Supabase, and from there we're gonna go Supabase from, and all the form it's gonna be passing from the orders, and after that we're gonna pass the delete method, and then okay, good. And after the delete method, we also need to get the equalizer, and on that equalizer it could be passing on that ID, and you're gonna pass the order ID. So now from there, we're not getting the data, right? We're just getting the error. You can also capture the message, whatever the message, we are capturing the error. If we are receiving error, okay, we're gonna pass the error. So what you're gonna do, if there is an error, okay, so whenever we're gonna delete the order, if we are sending an error here, we're gonna make that a throw new error, and the error should be passing on that, let's say, fail to, failed, fail to delete order, and then we can simply pass our parameter. Okay, I made a mistake, it should not be like that. I love to go with the backtick, because on that way we can pass the error on the flight. So should be error dot message. Okay, so now that could be done, and if everything good to go, so means now if it doesn't have error, means the order is done, order is deleted. And every time we delete the order, I want to fetch that list again. I don't want that order, because if I delete one single order, so means if I delete this order, I want to refetch that one. Otherwise, this data, it will be there until I refresh. So what I need to make sure that every time I am bringing back my data. And after that, I'm gonna just go and make a toast message here that yes, we have been done good and it's a success. So order deleted, let's see, I'm gonna go with the payment done, the first one, which is the order number 64. The last one, that one is that. I'm gonna go with the previous order number 40. If you can see in the database, order number 40, so this is the order, so 216.76, so order number 40 is there. So I'm gonna go and click that, delete. You see, order deleted, 40 is not there. And also you can check in the database. If you come over here, as you can see, there is 40, because we need to refresh the data. Otherwise, it will not bringing back the latest one. So if we refresh, we should be able to see that our latest order, the 40 is not available. Okay, done. And now I'm gonna pass not the ID, like I'm gonna pass 90, which the order is not available, right? I'm gonna go and click. Okay, sorry, it should not be here, it should be here. Okay, I want to pass like a 90, so 90 number order is not available. If I click try to delete, why? On delete, we are passing the order ID. Okay. Okay, where I'm putting, yeah, I'll just go in a separate screen. Okay, now I'm gonna go and passing that 90 just to go and try to delete a 90 order. So delete, you see, throwing an error. So yeah, order is not found. So now we need to match with the deletion. So I think this is working perfectly fine. And also we can do now, we can make the loading session to be done. Okay, so we can now go over here. So we can now create a loading property here. You see, we are passing that order. We can go over here, and after that, before the error, like if we have a loading instances, so every time you're fetching order, there should be a loading, right? And then we can return a loader. So we didn't create the loader yet. Okay, we can create a loader parameter. So let's go in back and the components. It will be a loader.tsx rnfes, and the loader I'm gonna just popping up because this is nothing that fancy here. What you do, just we did a very simple structure. We are making activity indicator and then the container. In the container, we are making a flex one. We are putting a RGBA background color to make it in a more and perfect. Align item center, just step by center. Keep everything in the middle, taking the full weight and full height. Position absolute, top 0, left 0, and also the Z index 10 to ensure loader is above the content. And over here, just putting that one. That's it. So what I'm gonna go, I'm gonna make the loader here. If the loading here, see the loader is coming. If we just remove that, it's fetching. Okay, order deleted. So our order deletion method is perfectly aligned. Now we can delete the order, but what we need to do is to pay the order, right? So this one is need to be paid, right? It's already not yet paid. We need to go to create our payment instances. So this is a kind of nuts because we need to do a lot of work here. So we're gonna go in handle payment. And of course, whenever you're gonna go on that, I want to make that set loading as true. Okay, so now what is gonna happen once we make that set loading instances? So why we need that set loading? That is the first question. We need the set loading to show the loading active, because whenever we click, you see that loading activator is getting that a loading instances. So that's what we are doing. We want to make the button to be visible, right? And also we're gonna make that as a false because it's getting true. Okay, right now first it's gonna be true, then we're gonna make a try catch parameter, and in the finally parameter, so the finally I'm gonna make that set loading as false. Now if we click here, it will not be there because it's all automatically closing at the same instances. So instances is not created, so it will not be there at all. So now we need to go and make that a lot of things to work together. Now we need to make certain things to work so that we will be able to bring that to whenever we're gonna hit the pay, we want the user to be go directly in the payment skin. So but we need to pass certain kind of value the way we want it to do there. So first of all, we need to create a payload. So should be a payload, and that payload should be, let's say I want to go, and of course we instead of the loading, I think the loading it will not work, or we can go a disable property. I think so. So here also I'm going to keep the loading, but we can also make it disable, right? So should be disable and set disable, and that should be false. But whenever we click here, set disable should be, let's say, true. And the same thing, we're gonna make that set disable as false. And of course we need to make that button disable. So disable, and that should be, let's say, whenever having the disable. So in that way, whenever you click play, I'm gonna just make that things to be done. I'm gonna just make that one. You click, you see, okay, is it working? Disable, set disable, that set disable is true. Finally, okay, which button I'm talking about? Okay, I go with the delete button, not should be, that should be coming to our pay button here. So this one. Okay, now if we click, okay, now you see already its button is disable, so it's just getting that instances done. I'm gonna make that one as false. False. Okay. Okay, my bad. It's just yeah, now it will not, I need to make reload because I made that trajectory in different way. So this something happen, you know, sometimes it can be done on that instances. I'm gonna reload that. Then I'm gonna go within my order parameter. So let's go back to the orders, and over here pay now. So you can see now it's true, but if I make it, it will be false, but that should be true instant. And here once you click it, you will not see to, like, you cannot click all together again and again. So whenever on click one time, I need to run all the function. So now in the payload I will provide the price. So the price, and the price should be, let's say, order dot total price. And of course there should be an email, and the email should be the email which we are getting back to from there. And of course if we go back to our payment, the payment, as you can see here, we are parsing the value all together. I think in the payment screen, okay, I'm gonna fix that first. Right now I want to go in a happy way. Actually, the payment screen, as you see, payment intent, ephemeral key, customer, total, order, we all are passing as use param. So whenever we're gonna hit the payment screen, we need to make sure that all 5 of the item we are having. Otherwise, we cannot initialize the payment, right? So we want that order to be route back there, but before start routing, we need to make sure that all of the props should be able. So whenever I'm gonna hitting in my database, like in my backend, I can get back my ephemeral key and others, but these 2 I can just pass from there. And after that I will initialize another try catch. Okay, I think, yeah, we have the try, no need to initialize here, it's already there. So I'm gonna initialize our try catch block. So const should be first, I'm gonna get the response, should be await. I will make axios dot, it should be a post method here, and I'm gonna bring back to my responses. So that should be coming back, let's say base. Did we created the base URL? No. So let's go back to the config. I don't want to go type in hard writing. So here I'm gonna create a base URL pattern, so which can be make that things looks a bit nice and cleaner. So I'm gonna make that export const base okay, should be base URL, and here the base URL should be, if we go back to our payment, and not in the payment, but I think in the card, yeah, in the card which we did, yeah, that. So that should be our data. So if we go back here in the config, we can just simply pass that, but the checkout, I'm just go like that. So that would be our base URL to go and make things better. So over here should be, let's say, base URL. Okay, and after that, after passing that base URL, I need to go and make sure that we are having all the route setup is done and everything is good to go to fetch the data. So the name, it should be a checkout, so the same name it will be there. And after that, I'm gonna pass the payload, whatever the payload, because we need to have the email and the total value. So the email and price, if we go in our checkout route, so as you see, we need to pass that email and price to get the request body, in the request body to get the request from there. Okay, so now this should be okay. Why I cannot fetch the orders? If you go back here, no, what's the error? Let's just go here. Okay, I think maybe something wrong. I'm gonna reload that. Sometimes it can be happen, like to ensure that your database, okay, is working. So we should, okay, card working, orders, yeah. Sometimes it can happen, you know, the connection can be failed, and that time it can make that things done. So we're gonna have the like parameter of those things to initialize that, and over here we're gonna pass the headers. So the headers should be, let's say, in the headers we're gonna pass that our content type, so it should be content type, and the type we're gonna mention that the similar type should be application/JSON. So that's the type we are going to pass that. And whenever we're gonna hit back to our client, like our database, we're gonna pass the response. Remember the way we get that, it's gonna get everything from the response dot data, and what we're gonna get is that we're gonna get our payment intent. So that should be that one, or you can just simply get that, as the typo can be making the mistake. So that should be the data. We'll get back the payment intent, ephemeral key, customer. So if we just make log to see, are we getting that? So the payment intent, and then the ephemeral key, and then the customer. So are we getting that? If we go here, if we click pay now, we should be happen to be, you can see we have the payment intent, we have the ephemeral key, and also we are having the customer. I think, yeah, you see the customer CUS. So everything we are receiving means that hit is happened to be working properly. And as we fix the error in the layout, so it will be good to go on that particular instances. Now after that, as we are having data, if we are having that response dot data, so that time we want to go back there, and we're gonna just make that alert dot alert, and we're gonna pass a message which gonna be say pay now. So we're gonna go with the backtick. So let's say initialize or initiating payment for order, and we're gonna pass the order number, should be order.id. And after that, remember the same way we did, and that could be there. The text should be, we're gonna pass the text, gonna be, we can cancel it if we want. So let's say cancel. And after that, we're gonna also having another parameter which going to be say let's say the text going to be hit as pay. And on that pay, we're gonna have a multiple instances. Also we're gonna have on press. So whenever we're gonna on press, whenever we're gonna on press, and there we're gonna make the set of router, and of course we need to get back the router. I will just make router here, const router should be use, let's use router. Done. Now we are going to call back here, so should be router dot push. Okay, and where are you gonna push? Remember in the card how we push, the same thing gonna happen. You see, if we go back to the card, we are pushing that within the path name, the payment and others. So you can just copy that. Yeah, that's entire thing you can copy. Okay, the clear card is already there, so no need to clear the card, right? So what I'm gonna do, the simple setup, we can just pass that, the order ID, not the data, but which gonna be as order dot ID. And for the total price, it's gonna be order dot total price. That's it. So now, as you can see now, we are having all the segment done intently, perfectly. So what we can do, as you see order number 63, if we go pay now, as you can see, why is taking a lot of time? Now you can see in a proper data extension here. We click pay now, button is visible. We know the loading is done. Loading is happening because our backend is working. First of all, we are hitting directly, whenever we hitting that pay now, we are hitting to our checkout route to grab all the data, all the structures to let our things to be work perfectly. So first of all, you see how many action you're doing. First of all, we're clearing the payload, we're destructuring the payload, then we are waiting for the responses, then we are getting the data, and after getting the data, we are passing. So you need to make sure you're using asynchronous async await properly. You need to make sure you make that try catch properly. You need to make sure a 3 to 4 segment properly, adequately, otherwise you're gonna be having the error. And of course, be make sure you are having that layout setup done perfectly. And of course, there is the repo in the description which having all the code. And by the way, you can also grab it, like all the production level of the code, you can get it here. It's just a minimal price to let it work. And if you're a student, let me know in the comments, or you can reach me out, maybe I'll consider a discount for you. And by the way, feel free to visit my buy me a coffee page. You can just pass something there if you are feeling good at that, if you're learning something. And by the way, if you're still with me, please like the video and subscribe the channel. 80% of the people, you are not subscribing my channel. Do subscribe, you know, it can help me a lot to build so many great contents like that. Anyway, so let's go back to the topic. So now here we will go to create the payment instance. We have the 63 orders, pay now, and now the moment of truth, we want to pay. So now we are having a confirm payment. Okay, our things is done. So let's go back in the card 424242, and we can just go like that 1334123 and then hit pay. Okay, so now it's processing, and by the way, it can now, if you make that, you see 63, I think 63 or 64, which one we okay, this one is not fetching the latest data, so we need to work a bit. You see, it's not fetching the latest data. So yeah, that's every time I need to change the route, I need to fetch the latest data. Okay, so if we go back to our orders, here is not fetching the actual data which we are passing by default. So we need to go and make sure that whenever we are in the orders route, we are always talking to our database, fetching the latest data by which we can just showcase the data in a proper way. And to implement that one, we need to go to make a certain kind of instances, and we're gonna do that first of all. So how we can capture, so this is our orders. So here is the orders, and we are just fetching orders right here. So we need to make sure that yeah, okay, we can also, instead of that use effects, we can go call use focus effect. Use focus effect, and that focus effect need to be coming from the expo router. I think so, not in that yeah, expo router it would be good. I believe so, but let me check first, otherwise maybe we're gonna have some error. Yeah, expo router is providing that focus effect here, so let's just bring it top so we can make sure that we're having that use focus effect from expo. And over here we can just go with that, and in between we can use that use callback from our React, and on that use callback we can just simply pass the variation here, and from there we can just directly concat the value, and over here the dependency should be user, dependency should be router. And what do you want? Whenever the use focus effect going to work, fetch orders. Every time in focus, fetch the order. You see 63. So now we're gonna paste 53. So let's see if it's working or not, if we, whenever we're gonna changing the route and predefine other parameter. So there is a lot of way you can check that. So you know, maybe I missed some stage, but you already capture that. It can happen. So every time make sure you are doing the right pattern and the right thing. So processing the pay, you can redesign that one. It could be very nice and clean if you do that, and I'll be happy if you put the, you see, done. So all the, let's just make last payment 44. Okay, so it's a very old payment. We can go and create that handle pay. So 194, so the order number 44. So let's just go with the default card 4242. Don't use any production label card, it will not accept that, and maybe your card can be blocked. So make sure you're using only the text card, and you can also go scan and other parameter, all are doing good to go. Now once you click in the order, I want to see the order, right? That would be very nice, because right now every time whenever I'm gonna click on that particular order ratio, it would be good if I can have a pop-up done, and if we can just make the order to shine. Let's see if we can create that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna work in our order skin, because all the orders is staying here, so we need to work on that particular instance. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use a setup which gonna be const show modal set show modal, and by default it's gonna be as false. Okay, so whenever you're gonna click any of that particular order, I want that order to be focusing to make that things to be true, so that we can show a model altogether. And how we can do that, let's go to our also, you see the refresh is not working, so we can go and create on refresh parameter here. So that should be, we can create a refreshing instances here, should be const refreshing set refreshing use state, which going to be false. So whenever you're gonna drag and drop, it's gonna be, I want that refreshing should be true, and it's gonna fetch always the latest data. That's what I want. And to make that things work, I'm gonna make that refreshing which going to be passing that refreshing value here. And also whenever you're gonna make that on refresh, and on that particular function I want to run something, which is that I just want that fetch orders data to be implemented. So now if we fresh, it's a fresh click. Okay, that's working perfectly. Now also we need to do one more parameter, then yeah, that could be done, but we can pass that whenever we're gonna click. We want that to be like the model need to be visible as true. Okay, we can do that. We will do that for sure. We can go back to our order details here. Here we can just simply pass a function, so it can be passing like that handle view details or something. So let's say view details. Okay, so that would be a single simple functionality here. So that should be not view details, I think show details, it can be good way. So that should be, let's say, show details, and then we can pass the variation, or we can just make instead of that we can make that on view details, and here we can just simply pass that handle view details function. So this is the function which is going to help us to showcase how we want to render the view details and others. So let's go at the top. We need to first initialize that function. So let's go here before the error and loading. We can make that, and over here we can receive a parameter which is going to bring our order, right? So that could be order as order. Okay, so now over here we can okay, that order could be not order but an order. Of course we have the order at the top, so as you see it's defined here already. Now over here we can also get another parameter which should be passing that selected order. So selected selected order set selected order. Okay, so right here we need to define how we want to showcase the order. So the order data, as you may remember, that the order data is defined in a way so that it can be happen to be an object order and can be null. So you're gonna pass it as an order. Okay, it should be either way. We need to pass that use state property. So in the use state property it can be order, or it can be I think here I will define that as null, but here in the condition it can be having two property. One is that can be captured as order, another can capture as null. Okay, so this is the two variation can be provided all together to just to make that things properly aligned and doing it all together. So let's go in our handle details functionality here. So this over here we can make that set selected order, which going to passing that whatever the order we are passing, and also you're gonna make that set show modal, which it will be true. So now we need to check is working or not. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go within our, as you see, on view details right here, we're gonna go in order item, should be on view details, which going to be a, and here we need to passing that variation so that we can declare the function, so that it will be also making things a very legit and work in perfect way. So for the on view details we can pass the props, and that should be a functional parameter, and here it will take everything as an order, and you see the order it will be captured as an order, and of course it can be a void. And over here we can just simply pass that on view details. Now how the on view details going to work? So as you see, we need to define another, there is no text here, so we need to define one more button by which we would be able to showcase that view details parameter. So I think we can, after the placed item, you see the placed, so we can go back of that. So that's the placed parameter, and after that we can now before pass I think we have two parameter. One is that paid, and another is that to show the button. So okay, it's not that bad. So we can, I think these two we can just bring one view, so that it would be good to just go in that place. So here we can just pass that another touchable opacity, and we're gonna pass the text which going to say view details. Okay, so as you see, view details button is there, and together I'm gonna make that style, and then should be, I'm gonna make that flex direction as, let's say, row, ln items, which going to be a center, As you see, it's a center align. So now also it can be, let's say we can define a two variable here. We can just go and excel in the two parameter. I will just add some of the style here, which going to combine to make that looks better. One is that button container, and another is that view details button and others, so that it can be easily matched together, and it can simply define the variation of how the way we are capturing the data. So instead of writing it all together, I think that's not a good procedure to go on that. So we can just simply make that styles dot I think view details button. So no, not the view details button, should be button container. And the button container, placing the same thing, flex, center, and providing a gap of 12. And after that, the touchable opacity for that, so style should be styles dot, it could be view details btn. So that's the button. You can see here, it's just capturing that. And we're going to provide the text here. Style should be styles dot view details text. And we can now make things little bit different, as you can see. Or instead of view details or making it looks more consuming, I'll go with that the same parameter which we did before. Remember, we have two sort of item, so the same actionable parameter going to happen. So instead of passing that, I think we're gonna go with the pay now button, and also it's gonna go with the pay now text. Pay now text. So it will be a similar, but did we miss something? Pay now button and pay now text, but it's not capturing. Okay. Why is capturing margin top? Okay. Yeah, we got that. Because now I'm gonna go with my previous version of that. Yeah. But over here, I'm gonna go and define the pay now button, this padding and weight. So these two I want to change. So the padding, why? So this is okay. Yeah, we cannot provide the width of 80 because it need to be at least 100. Otherwise, or we can, instead of, I think the good thing is that horizontal is good. So we can just make that the same scenario also. We can just copy this one, and here we can just simply pass that pay now button, so that it's gonna also capture that. Okay, you see, side by side, it looks better. Yeah. So now I think we can now go and grab the button container, which, and the grab button container, I need to make that one as, let's say, margin top should be 8. So you're gonna pass that. You see, this two is making the same parameter, doing the same thing. You see, we can have now two value here. So to make that things work perfectly, over here in that view details, we need to now run that function so that it can work. And so here in the touchable opacity, we're gonna run our function, the on face value here, and that on face value, it's gonna combine, let's say it's gonna make that view details, I think on view details, the function we call on view details, and here we're gonna just place the order. Okay, so if it's doing good and better, so what we're gonna do, whenever the function is run, we're gonna log two parameter. One should be our, let's say, selected order, another it should be show model. So these two variation can be working all together. If we click, you see we have that, and also the true. So means our button is working perfectly, and we're good to go to make the things done. So now we need to create a model. And how we can create the model, that is pretty decent here. So we can now create a order details model by which we can just go and pass all the variable and make things done in a pretty good way. So I think I'm gonna create it here. You can create anywhere you want, but I'm gonna keep it in a same distance so that it would be better to understand. I think so. But you can also create like a props, not the props, like a component, and then you can pass it here. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna make that const that should be order details model, and here that should be a simple function, and from there it's gonna return a model, of course. So I'm gonna return, let's say, return Okay, that should be passing like that. Model from React Native, and in the model we need to make a lot of things. So first of all, I'm gonna create a view, and that view gonna create that styles dot. We need to go and capture our model property. So all the model styles which is we are using, I'm gonna just grab for all of you. So that should be a pretty good contain of that. So I'm gonna just grab it all together. Let's see, that should be our model. So the model selection, model body, model title, model header, so all the model content, it would be coming there. I'm gonna just go and prefetch that. Okay, where at the top, where is our model? This is a pretty messy right now, but you know, it will be better once you understand. Yeah, this is the model. So here we need to define our model overlay. So the first instant it gonna go with the overlay to understand that how it gonna work. So styles dot should be model overlay. Okay, so now if we click view details, it should be, if we go in the overlay, flex one, background color, that justify center, item center. But right now we cannot see that. Why? Because we need to define our model so that it would be very easy to visible. So what I'm gonna do before, I'm gonna where we are creating that, okay, are we creating our items? Let's see here. Are we creating here that one? Or are we creating here? Yeah, we're creating here. Okay, okay. Okay, empty state. Yeah, that's a, okay. I'm gonna close that one. Okay, so now on that wrapper, we're gonna just simply make that order model details, and the visible should be, whenever we want to make it visible, that visible ratio we need to pass here. So here we're gonna pass three different variable here. So one, it will be, let's say, model visible, and handle close model, we're gonna just make that function here. So should be, let's say, we're gonna make that variation here, const handle. Okay, that should be, and whenever you're gonna close, set selected item, set selected order should be, we can make it empty if we want. So otherwise we can also pass that variation. I think, yeah, I can just make that two variation in null, and like the default parameter would be consumed. Okay, set, should be set visible model, set show model. Okay, that should be together instances to go and combine. Okay, I think I may have some error. I'm gonna just reload to combine that together. So right now, as we are passing that, we can go directly to our model details here. So let's go back there. There should be our orders. Okay, model visible doesn't exist. Okay. I removed that, right? But it's still here. Okay, visible show model. Yeah, okay, that's my bad. Okay, yeah, now you can see the error should be gone because I changed the name. Okay, right now what we can do, we can either keep it here, or also we can take that at the root layer. I think better is the root layer here. Okay, so no need to within the wrapper inside. This is not good. So you see the model is here, that's why we are showing here. So now we need to go work with that model property. So in here we're gonna make that visible. We're gonna and the visible is boolean. Okay, not like that. So the visible, we're gonna have the order, and we're gonna have the on close function, and I'm gonna just make it inline. The visible should be it should be a boolean value, and of course, and then the order should be order, and all it can be null, and then on close, and which is typically a function. Oops, should be on close, typically a I think a void function, void. So now we have our value properties here. So in the model, we're gonna also having two certain kind of things. We're gonna pass that to variation here before we are returning that. I think I'm not gonna go, or we will go with that. I will go with you can create an animation, share value and others if you wanted to, but yeah, I think it will be good to go on that. I'm gonna go to just show. So use share value here from React Native. So now we can go and create a translate Y and opacity, and I'll just go in a very decent way so that you can type and go with that, which you can very go and make that one to be things working perfectly, because I'm gonna just use some kind of like you can see style here so that you can understand it in a very proper way. First of all, what we are doing, we are using that showing you see if you details it would be there, so no worries, we're gonna make that happens to be in a proper way. First of all, we are showing here in the translate Y, we are capturing that your share value 300 and opacity is 0, and no need that React use effect. We can simply use the use effect directly here. If visible, we are providing that dumping on that, else we are providing dumping on that data, and it will always change whenever the visible property is going to be inject. Now here the model also animated modal style, which is just going to share with the border layer of data. So in the model, if there is no order, there should be no model. So now in the model, we need to go like animation type, which is going to be a I think none. We don't want to make an animation type, just to be a normal, and transparent, which is going to be as true. I want that to be transparent, so the other value we can see. Visible should be coming from the visible, and also on request close, that gonna be passing that on close functionality. That's it. If we now click, still we are not seeing anything, so that could be an issue right now. So we have the model right now, we'll be able to see the data, right? We have a model overview, so you can see view details. Are we just capturing the data? Okay, if we are catching, are we receiving the order? We can see here order. If we click, no, but are we receiving order here? So that could be because as we make outside of the row, it could be not the order, selected order. Okay, it's null. Why? Let's just see where we did the mistake. Under close model, so on the wrapper and on that parameter, so we in that view details we are passing that selected order. So right now if we go in our order item on view details, maybe we are making something which are supposed not to be. Okay, let's see where we are storing that data. So whenever we are view details here, yeah, styles on view details should be okay, passing that on view details. Yeah, we are not sending here the order, we should be passing our order. The entire order data need to be transparency on there. So if we click, yeah, okay, and you see the overlay is now working, because right now if there is no order, we will not show the overlay. So that's the where it's just making. Before also the order was not happen to be passing there, but we can show that now if there is no order, it will automatically disable. So that's the things is happening right here, and that's the error is combining together. Now for the model, as we are passing that, we can now go as the overlay is there. Now we can start pouring the data. First here, we will use that animated value because we're using the animated. It's just an understanding how you can work on that. And here we're gonna pass a view, should be, and after that we're gonna have we're gonna pass the text, should be passing that details. And for the animated view, we can pass that style, and let's say style, which going to be should be styles dot, and here should be model content. Okay, so that's the one property, and then it going to be passing that animated model style. So that's okay. Where is that? Does not have any constraint called signatures. Okay, that's odd. I think we need to pass that animated dot view. Yes. Okay, yeah, it should be rendering within the view portion, otherwise you can't render it. So now if we go here, go in the orders and show the details, you see the how details is jumping here. Of course we will make it happen, but right now in the view we can make that styles, and that should be styles dot model header. Okay, so you will be able to see the header. That's the header. But there is certain kind of positioning which we are missing. Okay, we can use the gradient also. I think so. We can use the gradient color to showcase. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go in my application, and over here I'm gonna make that npm I. Okay, which part I am. If I put ls, we can see ls. I need to make cd client app and then npm I. So we can use the linear gradient to provide our gradient color. And also we need to import it at the top. I'm going to import it. So let's import it all together. And after that, let's just go and combine it. So after that animated view, we can now use that for a particular instances, which can really make some color combination. Okay, so now for this mathematical like order details model, so we can just, after this is the view which we have, then animated view here, and after that animated view, okay, that should not, yeah, we can use that here. That should be a linear gradient, and over here we're gonna place everything, and the colors would be, let's say we're gonna define of the color property should be app colors dot primary, and here we're gonna provide a 50 ratio of data, so should be dot 50. That could be one color, and then app colors dot primary dot, we're gonna make it like 50 to 100. Okay, so that would be the color data structure. Okay, what is that here? I think I may have some mistake. So that could be similar of, if we go back here, so that's the colors which we are defining by sure. So that could be the color. Yeah, I missed one backtick here. Like you see the details. So that's the combination here. And after that, also for the style, going to be, let's say, styles dot modal gradient. Okay, so now you can see that's the one. So in the modal gradient, we have a padding of 220, and also the background color primary 50 to 100. Now we need to go with structurize all the setup. After the modal header, we're going to provide the style, and that should be styles dot, and there we can just simply make that of that, let's say, modal title, not the text title. And if you can just see here in the modal header, like a flex direction row, center, space between to make a side by side, and title just putting the portion of that combination of a style. Now after that, we're gonna just, after the modal header, as you see, which we define all together, and I think yeah, we can so instead of that order details, we can just go and combine and say, let's say order, let's say it could be order, and on that order we will pass that our variation of data should be, let's say, order.id, and here details. So that could be the details parameter. And after text, there will be another touchable opacity, and on that opacity it would be a feather icon, and on that feather icon put a name, should be X, and also the size going to be 24, and whenever and the color should be, let's say it should be app colors dot text dot primary. So that would be an icon side by side, and once we click, I want to be make it close, so should be in on press event, we'll just make that one as on close. Now we having effect, we having animation, click here, it's gone, click here, it's just popping up, so looks not so bad. Okay, so now we after that view here, we will have another view, and on that view we're gonna having another text which is going to be, let's say, total, and on the total properties we also going to be passing that, let's say it will be order dot total price dot to fixed, and we want to make a 2 layer, so we're gonna having the price data here. So in the view here, style, that should be styles dot modal body, and for the total it's going to be style, should be styles dot modal text. Okay. Now what's the things is here in the model body, margin bottom of system, model text is just getting the text data ratio. Okay, done. So now we have two instances is working all together. Now we can make a more defined parameter to be done. And by the way, whatever we are going to implement right now, it's almost all are there. You know it very well. So I'm going to just popping those things up so that you can having an understanding. So what we are doing here, you see, we are passing the data model test, which text here for the total, for the status, whatever the status is happened, payment done or the pending. If you just go and click any of that one, for details here, you can see the pending. Now there is a text chance for you. You can now, for the pending one, you can style the way you feel it better. Okay, you can also add the pay now button here. That's up to you. You can combine that. But now after publishing that, we can now go and make another flat list. Okay, so in the flat list, we will just go for the data. Data should be order.items. So the all the item should be as a data, and the key extractor, I'm gonna passing that as item. So item, and here item dot, and that should be a product ID and dot to string, product ID dot to string. So now we have our item and structurable data. And after that, we, for the render item, we're gonna just simply pass that data variation here. So every single thing I'm gonna passing as an item, and from there I'm gonna return that, and I'm gonna return a view, and on that view I'm gonna passing an image, and on that particular image it will be source, and on the source getting the URI should be, let's say, item dot image, and going to be providing an style which going to be styles dot did we have the image style? Nope. Or what we can do, no, we cannot pass that order item, so I need to go and like to defend to get that item container and style and all the data style. So I'm gonna just go and grab that item style, details, text, close button. Okay, I'm gonna just go and fetch all the style necessarily to be done for that. It's better if you can combine it in a separate combination, like a separate data layer or separate component, so that it will not be crumbling all together. So now here I'm gonna make that image. Okay, so it can be done item.image, so that should be style.item image. Just render, so we will be able to see, you see the image item there. So now what we need to do, if you see in that view, I'm going to provide that style here. So style should be, let's say, styles.item container. So that's the container value property is going to be there. In the container, it's having row bottom margin bottom 12, border bottom width 1, and height property and others, and image is 70 by 70, resize cover, margin by 12, border radius is 8. So now we are having almost all thing all together. There is a key extractor problem is going on that should not be there. So if we just go, what I'm missing, if we go here, yeah, it just okay, what we are missing before, oh okay, key extractor. I misplaced the name. Okay, now we have the image, so pretty much define on that. So what I'm gonna do, so after that it's pretty simple to go with that. So I'm gonna go and capture all the data all together so that you can, now you can go it, because you know how to render the item, you know how to forecast the data, so you have the idea how you can make that things to be more visible. So here is the things. Now we are having that details where we are having that image, then having that title, having the text, and having the quantity, having the price into quantity to fix. So this is just style and properties, the way it was looking much more and better. So you can go and use your utilization to make it more better, make it more reliable. So this is just a simple style. Now you know how to do that, so I'm not gonna saturate it and so much for much and more. In here I'm gonna make that another text, so that should be a text. Let's say I'm gonna pass that as a close, and untouchable opacity I'm gonna provide the style should be styles.close button, and over here on press the same thing going to be happen, on close function gonna run, and also activity opacity I want to make it 0.7. okay, so now every time it's coming here you can just close that, and also for the text here should be style, and that should be styles dot close button text. which can be white, and on close it gonna close. You see the same thing, close. You want to see the details here, you can now see the item, and you can go on and on. So everything is quite well. And for the image also, see the image here, some issue in the image. We can make that one, instead of cover, we can make it as resize. Okay, contain. You see, now you can see the image properly. So this is up to you. So now what we did, pretty much everything is almost all together. We're now on closing all the data layer. Now we'll go in a happy path to do all the things previously done. So I'm going to first go make in a logout and try to see if it's expecting the data or not. So log in, and I'm going to go with my previous here, admin, and that could be done here at gmail.com. Putting my password and hit sign in. So now we should be able to log in. If we go here, I want to add some of the products in the cart, and as you can see, we have all the products there. So now we have 1117.97. so that's the price order. So placed order, you see 117.97. if we go here, we can just prefetch our product details here. 1234 12 not like that, 123, done. Hit payment. So now this payment can be done all together. So okay, now we can see here, it should be at the top, the first one. You see the view details here, we can just see the details. Okay, all together is good. Now let's go back to our database. In the orders, we should be happen to be see one order. And by the way, you can also make that one, you see, descending, you can see the 65, which is that data. But now, as you can see, we can now delete that one if we wanted to. If we delete, okay, that would be just, you just need to reload that data. It will just take a bit of time to go and considerably work done. So now it's almost all together, and of course you can see everything is doing well. So let me know in the comments if you did that particular things or not. And by the way, there is a part which I'm keep pending, and why I'm doing that, because I'm gonna refresh all together and then combining it, because I'm gonna pass that in the preview. So all the best, finish that work. So all the things, it will be available in the repo. So I'm going to push all the data to the repo here, and on the repo you can access everything, and then you can clone, and all the thing is going to work perfectly. So all the best, and again, thank you very much for keep staying with me till the end, and I really recommend you to do that and make these things done. And let me know in the comments whatever more data, whatever more project you are looking forward. And by the way, again, like the video and subscribe the channel. So all the best, and I'm gonna see you in another video.